Hello and good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Welcome back to another Friday night community race. We once again got the World Series of Free Enterprise League Forge Percent throwback flag set, where our objective list is a little bit barren. We just have to forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant, and that gets us our crystal and our path to Zeromus. But the road there, as we've seen in past races, isn't as trivial as it looks. By the way, I'm Y2 Sky, back in the booth again after a pretty long and lovely break. Joined once again by my cohort Deathlike. Deathlike, it's good to be in the booth with you again. How are you this evening?
Feeling good. I mean, I think going back in time, that's a thing. Well, I don't think I've seen this run often, if anything. But hey, I know Forge, and the two requirements are the same. But what we get back is the crystal. So that's kind of like a major departure from getting nothing or getting a super smith or not super smith item. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of a needle in a haystack. So it could be interesting. So why not see what the fuss is about, I guess.
Yeah, and our runners will have to check pretty much the entire game looking for these two items because the key items are main summon and move. So all of the main spots, all of the summon spots, and all of the LST is fair game for our two prizes. Okay, we got to give a shout out to Jay Brunter, who has two thumbs and just became a grandpa of this guy. That is fantastic to hear, Jay Brun. Congrats.
I mean, it's something. It's kind of unique in a time, and ironically, hey, Sid is a starting character, and yeah, he technically would be a grandpa. Have him to manage everything. That means instant anchor, decent, punchy starting character, and can't say having starting with a stable character this early is always a good thing. To go with, I think this is the only other flag that is actually notable is we have no J items for drops or steel we're using regular steel US steel tables, so that means sirens are not gonna drop or be stolen from sirens from the alerts. So that means we'll have to hope that the shops are available and they're off.
Yep, definitely. Oh, we've got a Masamune being handed to us by Dr. Dialogue here in the Baron 1 spot. So hopefully we can find an edge. Sid's starting partner in crime is Cecil. That could be quite good if we manage to find the right gear. The loot is T standard, so you're not really going to find much of a Holy Sword in the treasure chest, but T standard will give you a uniformly distributed chance at a tier 5 through 8 trap chest. So with a Cecil in the party, we may see a few more techs for trap chests. Also, we have the vanilla agility flag on, and that Cecil in the party kind of turns that flag on. Deathlike, what do we got with vanilla agility here?
With vanilla agility on, that means Cecil dictates the anchor of the seed. So actually, while having a Cecil start kind of is kind of it's nice to have, but it might be a thing to just yeet Cecil altogether, because he dictates agility, and unless you want to keep him down, I mean, there's less of it that could be less incentive if you decide, if the runner decides, hey, Cecil can just be my anchor and just kind of let him take a nap. Modern deals doesn't doesn't become kind of mandatory. So especially with the loot settings, Cecil could be taking a nap this seed, but I think the other issue is that one of the flag's other run is no free characters, so might have to go take a trip to Mount Hobbs, and Cubs Roll is doing that, and considering, hey, maybe need another character, so a napping DKC is not a threat, and that's definitely a free Tella right there.
Yeah, Tella at the top of Mount Hobbs with the King and Queen of Avalon. So not going to be too hard to get that third character. That's a good pickup this early in the game. Couple things I've noticed: there is a Drain Sword in Damcian, so that can help you anchor that Cecil. Drain Sword is one of those weapons that provides minus agility, so being able to equip that to your Cecil is going to help your anchoring situation. Another thing I'm noticing: a lot of people looting Antlion. That's typically not something you see on our tournament flag sets, because the weighted distributions of T Pro and T Wildest don't really favor Antlion that much, but with T Standard, everything kind of has equal chance of being in a treasure chest. So now you want numbers. Now you're looking at Damcian, Antlion, all the places with a dense set of treasure chests versus the harder to get to areas that are weighted just a little bit higher, because they're not really going to give you much more of a benefit.
Yeah, it's probably something we don't usually see. So when everything is equal, it's kind of like T Wild, except Wild means anything, but Standard means it. When the distribution is limited, then when everything is equal, then it doesn't. As long as it's concentrated, then it starts, looting at a place where everything's nicely co-located. It's great. It's great for looting. It's terrible. But it's not that. It's also equally not as great. But it still puts value into Evelyn Castle for the real loot. So right now, without any really good J items. Oh, that's a nice pass from J Brunter. I think you put your value differently. It's more. I guess it starts to look more like a dark matter like hunt. Not quite. It's not dark matter, but you could see the value of just looting in place and not having to worry about kind of going out of your way to say the waterway where they're all the same, so it doesn't make a difference where you pick up loot. So even like a Baron just looting Baron. The town of Baron is a good thing.
Yep, definitely. Some interesting things flashing across the screen as I'm seeing our runners loot. The pass is definitely a big one. That's definitely going to come into play. I don't imagine any runner really skipping out on that. And I'm also seeing a strength ring in Antlion and a mute knife. So, boy, if we find the edge, edge would be a very good pickup right now with both Masa and.
Yeah, that certainly would be something worth looking into. If it shows up, that he's already practically online. So usually you have to have a pair, at least some decent house when you start with a Masa. It's like, yes, please pray for an edge. So I certainly see that as a thing, at least that thing we're looking for. But like many things, that assumes that the character shows up, and with no free characters, that the probability is kind of reduced by a little bit. So although Edge is typically a restricted character, so anything probably requires the hook from for Cave Evelyn, so you can look for Edge. So I'll have to double check if that was what the character's flag was, though.
Oh, nice roll of the Grimoire there from Tybalt, getting the Titan to one-shot that evil wall. Even if we don't find a edge to wield that mute knife, I did notice in Antlion we picked up most of our runners picked up an Elven bow. So with that Sid, we have our mage mashing at home.
Looks like, so I looked it up. C standard. So yeah, it will probably be in a restricted location. So those are very limited. Like like even dwarf castle, where you might be able to find edge. So edge will probably be in a smaller pool than we'd like it to be. With that said, I think there's also one other flag that's also enabled because of this classic class set. If you get Rydia on Free Enterprise the default behavior is that Rydia gets random summons from completing dwarf. Mid dwarf. You have to get dwarf 2, but she only gets her vanilla summons. So we're talking about Titan and Mist Dragon. So not as valuable for if you like Rydia. Fortunately, this scene might not be as positive for Rydia if we find her.
Yep. Fine. Oh, making some pretty good finds here. Is that Agart shop I just saw that cursed ring in? Yeah, that looks like Agart. Over on Jabrun's side too, we saw a quick peek in the weapon armor shop there. Ogre axe for Sid. So we're finding the gear in the shops. We just got to do enough looting to afford all of it.
Isn't there? I think tier 5 items. There are some decent items. They probably won't sell too many if you pick enough on that. And that's a nice hook. Typical picks up the hook from Fabul. So zero chance. At least, well, so far of trying to get a free single dip of Fabul if you get the hook or some underground axes and the pan. So yeah, which is unfortunate, but hey, you will probably have to visit Fabul early this time around.
Yep. And hook always a double-edged sword because that's the tougher route underground, but it does give you immediate access to one of those nice tier 5 shops in Eblon Cave. So this could also be more access to better gear for our characters to get through this.
Yeah, probably the trekking tip a little bit. Looking for shops a free rune X. That's perfect. Even if the ogre X wasn't bought, rune X can kind of help in a pinch, especially with the Mad Ogre's chest, which is pretty popular in Castle Eblon and the lower Tower Babel, that one through the hook route. So should be useful for Sid. Although right now, you see Cubs incentivized, but with a nasty Val on the way up. So it could be gating the magma we found the hook, so maybe be gating magma, but if even magma is at the end of that Mount Ordeal's path.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough road to hoe right there with Dark Knight Cecil and Tella backing up that Sid. You give him one of those axes and you might be able to do something, but it's going to be a long haul. I think Ordeal's one I think is not does not have extra magic defense, so you could probably throw J items if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the Mylon spot, has 0 magic defense. So so when you have that, Val doesn't hurt it, but the magic from Tella is not worth talking about. So J items, Isolution and J Brunter has realized, oh yeah, I can take on Val, and so Cubs were probably retreating, maybe not having enough J items. So that probably maybe the actual difference. Trying to punch Val through all of that is a kind of not a good cause, especially because I don't think Sid doesn't have enough gear to have a decent enough multiplier. Cecil not only use would be the Dark Wave command, and that probably will do very little damage for a lot, kind of a HP drain. Cecil's levels not mattering so much, but it's more of not much. It won't be contributing very much. It's has very limited value. But hey, J-Printer's gonna at least try go through and hope for the best.
Yeah, we got a couple of J items out there and got through about 1100 hit points from what I saw, but I think that spot is about at 3000, and just not taking big enough chunks to really make this a worthwhile endeavor. So yeah, and especially now, yeah, Gabron is not, or Tella is down before getting any blinks off. So I think this one is going to be a reset.
I think it's almost seeing Val here. Well, normally Val is more of a threat, like say in the back row, but this is like based on the starting characters and the flags that Val is actually formidable. This is usually like a kind of an easier spot for most runners, but it's like, with the kind of the character pool, you're kind of more incentivized to reset and even just look at Baron in to see if that is easier, and that's probably what J Prunter will be looking at, because that's when you're starting this early, you're always looking for the four key item spots, Antlion, Cave, Fabul, Mount Ordeals, and Baron Inn. So Baron Inn probably looks to be the place to be, because it makes sense to fade Val at the Nylon spot this early. Like, we just rarely see it, and I kind of like seeing that change of pace.
Yeah, Beauty and Discovery has the right of it in chat. Baron Inn doesn't lead to another check here. This hook route is going to be a little brutal. I made the same mistake I usually make as a runner and was too focused on the character and missed who was in that Rubicante spot too. So depending on who that is, this could be a pretty rough situation here. This is reminiscent of those some of those old ZZ1 hook routes.
John, I think, is that Eddie the Eblin Cave pickup? Wow, this is
Yes.
With the Rydia essentially at the end of this, and that means you probably will have to spend, probably worth spending your time hoping for the Mount Hobbs summon being worth something, because it's not. I'm trying to. I don't think there's a flag that reverted her what she learned, because that would be unfortunate, because would probably need a decent summon to maybe make some headway in the Mount Ordeals attempt.
Yeah, if I could get a hold of one of those. I think I saw a Sylph summon in the shop somewhere on one of these 4 screens. But you got to get through this Mom Bomb to even pick that Rydia up.
I think Tibble will with the Mom Bomb should be fine. Explode phase not that damaging. The Karate spot has no real magic power to speak of, and Zeus Rage just good enough to get by. So congrats there. And now picking up Rydia and looking at the key item. Hey, we didn't need Mount Ordeals.
That's huge.
Whew. It's major relief. There's a lot more things to do on the underground, and it just makes the Mount Ordeals check a lot. It's kind of like, wait, I didn't need to go up there for the magma key, and Val's up there. Oh well, okay, well, whatever. But that still keeps DKC and just base kind of the original basic Tella in the party, and that's kind of not as useful, but there are still, at least Tella has some utility. DKC, unless Black Swords pick up, he's kind of be better used as an anchor at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how our runners deal with the party situation. Because yeah, even though you can get underground, okay, you can check your freebies, but then okay, now you're back to still still needing, you still need that power to come from somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see the solution that our runners come up with.
I mean, there's some interesting things. If someone can get Rydia to level like 13, or is it 12 or 13? She learns Toad, and Toad can. Oh no, wait, this is like, I'm thinking classic Kelm right now, but probably want to get at least Rydia at level 13, 12, 13 to learn Warp, so she can probably do the Warp glitch. I think that is actually enabled on this flag set, so probably worth doing with that level. But though the first part of Dwarf 1 is pretty tough, at least comparatively speaking. Oh, unfortunate, no Warp glitch. So many classic flags enabled. So yeah, that's a bummer.
Yep, Scala throwing the flag set details up in chat. Thank you for that, Scala. Yeah, so there's no distinct number with the characters, so all of them are going to be available in the seed. So yeah, Dwarf, you may be onto something, Death. Like Dwarf may be a good play here once you get underground and maybe look for a little bit more gear and see what your freebies look like. But a lot of the runners, now that they're figuring out that underground access does not need to go all the way through the hook route. We're just kind of like we're getting through there and getting as much loot as we can, and maybe get that character and just fuck them.
It's also still worth doing Castle, Eblin Castle for some loot. While DKC, not really a contributor, but Tella still actually is useful for. I think still useful for the Black Cat portion, which is worth a gamble. Charm being one of his standard spells, pretty effective on Black Cats, as they will essentially kind of murder each other with Bluster, 50-50 chance. But I've always seen Death shows up a lot more, and that's always a fun thing to play with. Sid with Ogre Axe or Rune Axe can take care of the Mad Ogre. So 2 of the 3 critical treasure chests you could actually do some work in, although it requires a bit of luck given the characters that are on hand at the current moment.
Yep. Cubs Roll finding a dancing dagger in in there at the Eblon Cave, so that's going to allow that Eddie to contribute to the Val fight as well. So that may be enough to get you through that and get the rest of your characters powered up with.
Has anyone put Rydia at the Mount Hop spot for the summon, or this just picked up Rydia and didn't think of it? Because it's a free summon, and if it's vanilla summon, then that'd be a little much informed, because just learning Fire 1, and we have Teller for that.
It is not vanilla Hobbs, so the free random summon there is still a thing. Let's see, Odin not going to do much there. Like I said, I did see that Sylph in the shop, but I don't know if anybody's going to go back for that. Oh yeah, well, we've got Heroine Robe too on Cubs' thing, so yeah, might be letting Rydia hit things too.
And making Rydia useful is good enough of a thing to do. Squid at the end of Hook, though, we're probably not going the Hook route since Magnum Key is on the table. So that, but DKC deciding, hey, I want out. So back attack, DKC, pretty free. There'll be some nap time for a few characters, and justice from our sponsors.
Yeah, Ordeal's throwing us a little bit of French vanilla, but this spot with a Sid in the party is pretty much free. Charmrod. Let's see. Is E Ninja doing a complete dive? without checking that Baron in? Interesting.
Probably forgot that was like sometimes you go through the inn and kind of forget. Yes, there is something that you would normally do, but sometimes you forget and either fade and forget, or just forget. It's one of the some routines of some runners that commonly remember it, but sometimes are intentionally fading to hoping for nice fading for bull, hoping to have everything ready just to visit at once. So it's a little strange, but Ogo at the which is pretty free and a nice thing to see.
Yeah, Ogopogo is definitely something you want to see at that Ordeals 3 spot, because that means he's not anywhere else. Not anywhere else he's going to be rude. Jay Brun doing a full dive down here as well.
Same thing. When you forget that Baron is a thing, and when you see the hook, you just, hey, I'm committing, but when Magma Key is still at large, and you still having exhausted all free key, the early key items, you're doing something that you really didn't have to do. So it's one of those, you do what you know, even if you haven't looked at the other options. So this is that's with the knowledge that the runners have doing the hook route when not having to. I'm sure looking back, it's like, oh, I could have, this could have been avoided.
Yep. And to just make things even more interesting, Tybalt finding the darkness crystal before taking on that Hogopogo. So the world and the moon orbiting it are oysters.
Yeah, this also allows another free character check. So for I think right now Eddie is kind of at the top of the list of being yeeted because of it. So it could be Eddie or Rydia, as that free character could be invaluable replacement, and I think Edge would still be the top candidate for hoping that is who shows up.
Yep. Mylon Z at our King Queen Evelyn spot, so not free, not terribly difficult either. Still very punchy. I don't think Ninja's going to have the setup here though, because not really able to hit any of Z's weak spots, unfortunately. But let's look back at what's happening with Tybalt right now though, and what I would imagine our other runners would find themselves seeing very shortly. We only have 3 out of the 17 key items. We have to find just 2 of the 17 key items. We have the entire world open to us. This is going to be one of the more divergent races that we've put on in a while. This is going to be spicy.
I think Tybalt's selling the farm for the Leviathan. See, you have Iradia, you eat everything, even though haven't even checked the moon dice for the character. So I think that'd be the next thing to be done, because someone needs to go, and that at least, and hoping it's a character that's ideally better than Edward or Iridia, and so we'll see who that is.
Yeah, no, I think with just the regular character distribution, I think you get 1 duplicate per seed. Am I not mistaken? And I think that might be it. That's Artella. So second Cecil, if I'm not mistaken, second Cecil is off the table, which means you're not going to be able to use a Anchor Cecil plus a non-Anchor Cecil.
Did we actually check what the shop was? I don't remember what the shop. Never mind. And Ninja is gonna help us out.
Oh, Evelyn Shop. I was gonna say Lunar Shop. That was the Leviathan. No, Evelyn Shop has our nice assortment of J items for dealing with free fights.
I think we really want to invest in hourglasses. Seed, you want some of the decent loot in Cape and Castle Evelyn, or even like say the hairdryer's chest that is on the moon. So, that those are starting to look much more appealing and maybe worth investigating just to see what's in it. And evil turtle in the Bahamut spot. That's definitely a not even thinking about it until late game.
Cave Bahamut dive 27 minutes in tends to be, hey, I'm gonna see if this is free, and that is not free. Kenatsu is very, very rudimentary.
Yeah, especially particularly with Bahamut, he does. And vanilla doesn't punch, so because most in spots of that nature, they tend to be over tweaked for punchiness. So that even though that the monster doesn't punch, so that just means that the Kanazo in that spot will make lives miserable. So that's why it's not even a consideration. Tybalt right now, at least of the restream runners, effectively in the driver's seat, can do whatever it needs to do. Probably we'll try to go back to Cave Evelyn to do some shopping, but they're still underground. I mean, the magma key can be immediately used, and Tybalt's thinking on the same wavelength, gonna be diving into Cave SL for some of the trapped loot, which will be holding a lot of the power, hopefully.
Yeah, you do have a shot at getting one of the big holy swords for Cecil, the Crystal Sword or Excal. So, yeah, I think I like this play as a runner. You're really looking for kind of you're looking for your main source of damage at this point to try to get you through some of these tougher underground fights coming up. Thus far, our two runners that have transformed Cecil seem to be going for equipping him, like getting him set up to fight and level up, not really using him as an anchor. So it'd be interesting to see if Jabron or E-Ninja take a different tack with that, because we do have that Drain Sword that lets us set Cecil up nicely at one of those anchor breakpoints.
I mean, when you see DKC start, in this case, it really just is the second character, the character you pick up from Barrett as the second character. The temptation to keep Cecil around is usually significant. So I think our runners probably used to like wanting to keep Cecil around for to become a paladin and such, but not to consider, hey, wait, what if I just use him as an anchor? And that doesn't really come around too often. So I think it's more likely just because of of common Cecil users just to keep using him. So and may have forgotten or may have in the back of their mind, hey, wait, vanilla agility's on. So that is kind of something that is a kind of a running theme that could be kind of in play as a runner's still holding on to a paladin Cecil.
Yep. Life staff at the Staleman skull chest. So decent item, but maybe not what runners were looking for. Kind of back to what you were talking about there, Def. Like, I think this decision point right here, right now, this is more driven with the party count. So you've got Edward, Tella, Rydia, although Rydia's got a Leviathan summon, so she's no slouch. But you don't really have the backup that you would have if you had, say, Sid Kane Edge or Sid Kane Rosa. With a party like that, you might be more inclined to kind of sit back on that Cecil as an anchor because you've got other characters that you can equip to get that damage going. Right now, Cecil with a Holy Sword is looking like your best shot at getting through the sea quickly. And so, I have unless a key item and character checks come about to kind of shift that before too much investment's made. This is going to be okay. What can we find for Cecil? Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make do with the kind of the tools you were provided, and since Cecil's your best shot, then it makes sense that Cecil is the focus. So Tybalt is hoping what comes of the treasure met. Oh, Holy Sword!
There it is.
We have received, and that's probably good enough for the rest of the seed. Hope they're still probably looking for a character replacement, but this is definitely, especially with I think the backward glitch is enabled. So having Cecil just pretty much doing his thing, but you probably can't have him berserk. He needs to be kind of upright, covering people, as is particularly Viridia, as she is the secondarily important damage dealer of the party currently.
Yep. So yeah, the X. So we know we have the X-Cal, so that's good enough to get you going. Finding an edge would get your second melee character there, because we've already got the Masamune. So, and it's kind of just a matter of time finding that edge, because again, there's the C maybe flag is off, so all of our characters are available.
I think,
but again, only 2 key items have to be found. You may find go mode before you find that edge, and so you may just have to, like you said, play the hand you're dealt.
I mean, that also means that something like if say Edge worst case is in Giant as the Giant character, then I mean that kind of removes him as an option. There aren't too many spots to pick up characters left that is on table, and dwarf in between, especially mid dwarf, 1 and 2 being one of them that's left that we. So there are other areas. I think package, though that takes a lot of time. Sand Ruby at least would be worth an off trip to do, but if of course those have to be kind of like on the way, as hoping there's Earth Crystal. So there are options. So if there are key items that get you a character, those probably may be worth looking into doing just for that, and getting the usually a follow-up key item, like if you have to Earth Crystal for Zod as an example.
Yep. So Tybalt with Holy Sword in hand, now heading underground to check the freebies and see what our Feymarch boss fights are. So we finally get our first peek at the underground setup here.
Ninja rope. This seed has jokes. I know there is a guaranteed edge, but Earth Crystal. Sure. Let's go.
Hey, speaking of opening up those character checks, there you go.
Bacchus. So drinks on everyone, yay! But unfortunately, that also means the treasury not very valuable, as again T standard kind of ruins the treasury part of the party rock. So but I think even if you're not doing the treasury, again, top of tower, hoping for a character to replace Edward Raya, although in Tybalt's case, replacing the Edward probably will be the first to go. Maybe even Tella, depending on how it shakes up. And you,
Mylon and friends at the Ashura spot, CPU at the Leviathan spot. You indeed. I mean, not the worst of the back row glitch on, but yeah, that's still a slog no matter how you slice it. Yeah, but going back to the Earth Crystal find, the T standard treasury not really as big of a disappointment as it normally would be, because for the most part, I think that from what we've seen all 4 runners converge on Eblon Castle. We've got the gear. We just need people to wield it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Zot plays very shortly.
Yeah, Zot puts on the top of my list. It's an interesting play, but Tybalt not having the pen will just try to attempt Sheila 1, just hoping for maybe the pen itself. Vanilla pen would be nice to do, but that means more treks and second trek to the Sylph's Cave. But completely avoiding, I think, even doing a keyless tower or even dwarf. A dwarf is actually, while appealing, would be like generally a harder version of the Bared Inn. So you get the character, but you have two boss fights back to back. So that can always be a difficult proposition for many racers, which is a popular fade.
E-Ninja still trying to get that magma key. Not really finding the J items to get through the fight, unfortunately. But we might be able to get through with power on board. But if they start punching, yeah, that's going to be a little rough. Jabron also trying to get through that battle. Eddie's wielding a dancing dagger, but is kind of on the brink here. Tella needs to get some blinks off.
If you missed it, Tybalt found a free crystal sword from Sheila. Sheila having the goods for Cecil, even if you didn't visit Castle Evelyn. That is a worth diving for. I cannot say. And I guess we're raiding that treasury. I'm excited for this game, although not probably. Hoping for at least something good to come out of that.
Raid that treasury!
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're rating relative to T standard, that's kind of an 8 or 9 out of 10. I don't know. I mean, given that Tybalt already found an Excalibur crystal sword, yeah, that lightsaber's not great. Yeah, but hey, if it's for a T standard treasury, that's about as good as you're gonna get.
It's literally light sword out of 10. That's it. I mean, there's a rune axe, but everything else you could probably. It's like just any other treasure chest. So light sword out of 10 is my treasury rating for the day.
Yeah.
Not
cash armor there too, but yeah, at this point, like I said, I think we should be pretty set for loot. We just need the right characters.
The Cubs doing which is kind of semi-free. The Mylon Z, I don't think it's bad. I mean the Jura spot kind of average punchiness. I mean Jura not in vanilla not too bad, but not super punchy. So this actually is not a bad thing to see Cubs will take on this spot. It's the CPU spot that will be more of a drag. So this one is probably in the order in which Cubs Rule is doing it. Makes a lot of sense. You just hoping for Kiedum, although we already know where darkness is. So this is hoping for for the required Kiedums for our seed, which can be still at large at the moment.
Yeah, and that's what can make this really swingy, and just your go mode can be anywhere. It's the Legend Sword and the Adamant are both terminal key items. They don't unlock anything. So, yeah, you've got to check every nook and cranny. From what I'm seeing in Cubs fight right here, I don't think Rydia has that Leviathan summon, so that's going to take some time to get through that. There's a Blar.
Yeah, it's standard Blarg on this flag set, so Max's spot.
Zot 1. Okay, Zot 1. I was like, wait a minute, like Blarg at the top of Babel would have been bad. No, that's Zot 1. Okay.
Yeah, this is pretty. It's pretty free. The Max's spot is slow, but while the spell power is not too high, but Blarg. Magic. The power of Mega Newt is pretty high, so it's pretty much regardless of the magic evasion, won't survive. So Starveil's saving the day and doing the work. So unfortunately, Yang in the cane spot, not ideal. Still hoping for that edge. Mylon, for Cubs rule, shouldn't be too long. Although I don't think Cubs rule has visited the moon to find the Leviathan. But this is a very significant upgrade with a Foo.
Yeah. Guess what? Same thing as same thing as we've talked about. Like, this is not like our usual tournament flags. That's a Fusoya. So yeah, Tipple pretty much coming online to be able to deal with the rest of the seed without any problems. E-Ninja also picked up Sirens in Tamra. That was a good find.
Yeah, shops is still are kind of the standard fare. On Cave Evelyn and the underground shops and the moon shop are tier 5 items. So, Sirens are a part of that set. So having Sirens makes the grind, much more bearable. Especially when you can't steal it, and we have not found an edge. So, having Sirens kind of dictates the grind. So should make it more useful. Though still not converting the DKC, which that a lot of the XP will kind of go missing unless the intended purpose is not care about what DKC gets. He's probably going to be on the ground immediately after becoming a paladin. So that might be in Ninja's choice at this point.
I mean, eventually you can set up for a slingshot, but yeah, your plans are going to change. E-Ninja's plans are going to change for Ronzo once he pays a visit to Sheila 1.
Oh yeah, when you have Burr on the table, your plans immediately change. Like, Anchor? No. Number 1 Berserker.
Nope. Yep. Exactly. Well, I saw a Dragon Whip in the dwarf shop. That's pretty spicy.
Yeah, I think we have other options. I mean, it's nice to have. It's just probably not a priority though. So
I mean, Crystal Sword also cracks eggs, but
that's the easiest way of cracking an egg. At least Jay Burter using Grimoire, perfect opportunity, and rolled the kind of perfect summon to get rid of the skulls. But I think Odin was in Cave Evelyn. I've run a few seas where I had to depend on Rydia to Odin all the things. It was a seed. Let me tell you.
All right, Cub's gonna throw the Grimoire at the dolls. Let's see. Oh, nice, very well done. So in a seed that's throwing us pretty much everything and as many memes as possible. Yes, we're getting some vanilla as well. So Cub's taking out the vanilla dolls here at Dwarf. Beautiful Grimoire there by Cubs, though.
I would have been more excited for an Odin, but Blarg, you love to see it. And the juror falling up, not too bad, but we'll see who the mystery character. And hey, the guy we've been hoping for at the beginning of the seed, yep, he's there. So that, and unfortunately, Edward, first to go, unfortunately.
Yep. This good? Well, given vanilla agility, you still gotta figure out the healer situation, because even if you're gonna burr with Cecil Edge, if you don't have RA1 across the board, you're gonna run into an issue with healing. If Tubbs checks the Earth Crystal and picks up that Foo, that might be enough in a pinch. Foo can cast 4 shots of Cure 4, 5 if you give him the Soma drop. That might be your best healer option at this point, especially since we're just not finding Rosa.
Yeah, well, we want a Rosa or a Porum, so it does so that and both are still on the table. We'll have access to one of them regardless, whether or not they are trapped behind the giant. But it could, if we don't kind of end up finding either of them, because maybe this Rosa is in the vanilla sand ruby spot. That might be a thing. So I think right now, let's say Cubs rule party, just kind of take out Sid. Sid is the first to go. Sid would be the first to go for when Cubs would eventually will stumble onto Fu. So that would be kind of like the first thing to do. Like, Radia still has some use, hoping for a decent summon, and we know the summon is decent summon is available for purchase on the moon. But I think Sid would probably be ideal candidate to go at this point. Your agility is dictated by Cecil, so Sid has kind of his use is gone. So you have a dedicated white mage in the form of Fu to do the work, and supplemental mage in Tella to do a little bit more.
Yep, precisely. Cubs was making me hold my breath there. He was like flipping the edge and was looking around for that Masa. I was like, oh no, did Cubs sell the Masa? Nope, it was moved to the bottom to move the sort. So that little bit of a little bit of an interesting tidbit there from Cubs. But yeah, that was a sigh of relief also. But yeah, dwarf completing the set of Hanzo Steel. Like I said, we've kind of stumbled into our power here, so now we've just got to find our go mode. We have our grind. Sirens are at Tama. Yeah, who's gonna find the Legend Sword and the Forge Rock first?
I mean, outside, I don't think our runners have taken on CPU. Cubs has taken on the Mylon and Azure spot. So with that, and one of the worst things that could happen for our runners is one of the pieces behind Turtle in the Bahamut spot in K Value. So I think hope for the runners, when they consider their options, doing LST might be a much better proposition than Turtle at K Value.
Yeah, like the LST, most part runners kind of sticking to the underground. E-Ninja and J-Brunt are still working on their setups for Paladin Cecil. I'm a little curious. Tybalt's going Keyless Tower here. Interesting play when you have the Darkness Crystal available. Oh well. Far be it for me to question greatness, though. That's a demist. That's a bonus round.
Yep, bonus round being free key item. Have to pick up the key item after defeating demist. Go to the Mist Village and talk to Radia's mom, who's still taking a nice long nap. But once you talk to her, you get a free pick up a free key item, which may be of value. So this, even if it doesn't turn out to be an immediate tower key, I mean, which has happened oftentimes, still worth trekking up the tower just to get. This is not too bad of a fight. This spot having the Dr. Legay spot having 0 magic defense to speak of, so any magic you hurl out outside of it being in the mist form will do full damage. So it's a nice place to be.
And E-Ninja has now completed ordeals, so that should be pretty much all 4 of our runners online as far as party and ability to get through the sea. Hub's going to Zot, gonna find that Festoia.
Yep, looking for that treasury because hey, it's a hoping for something, but again, we'll be finding a light sword that has been superseded by other things. So unless Cubs hasn't taken a dive at, I think everyone has looked. Almost everyone on Restream has taken a dip at Castle Evelyn for some loot. So this loot will be a bit disappointing after the fact.
Yep. So Tybalt just finds the spoon at the top of the tower. We'll wait and see what the demist item is, but so one thing that I am hoping I see that will make this interesting hopefully from Jabron or E-Ninja, find those sirens, get your party online, just go to the moon before bothering with anything else, and see. I think I'm wondering if you're in Jabron or E-Ninja's shoes, especially with Jabron just got that magnet key, you thinking you might be feeling a little behind. I'd be interested to see, especially if they find the sirens. Set the grind up, do the grind, try to go to the moon, and catch back up.
Those are options. Like, especially when you know this has been available since the very beginning, and that is always just knowing that both the Hook was early in Fabul, but having the magma key this in Baron in, as a just thinking about, like, kind of panicking. You're thinking, wait, this has been available from the start, so maybe need to cut the time underground as short as possible till finding the darkness crystal, and that typically, it's gonna, that feeling. I think every racer always has it, feeling behind. But when you pick up a key item this important this late, it is always a thought. That time I could have saved happens. So don't. Sometimes you fade it. Sometimes you forget. So and when you forget, it happens. When you fade it and then come back to it, I guess you've committed at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens both at this Demon's check and what may happen on the moon, because we've seen a lot of the boss spots. Everybody's got coffins and hourglasses. If I'm not mistaken, other than the King and Queen of Eblon, I haven't seen any other of the free fights. We could end up having a very quick moon, depending on if those free fights are up there. So the moon could be a way to kind of jump ahead in this race, provided our forge stuff isn't in the underground spots that Tybalt is checking, and Cubs will probably eventually check.
Given the situation, it's one of those. It's a situation where if you were behind, you're hoping to catch up, and chances are, finding the darkness crystal a bit kind of late after, especially going to Mount Ordeal's late, because Val, you kind of a gatekeeper, oftentimes a little strangely in a spot that isn't usually gatekeeping spot. You're probably maybe more incentivized because you're feeling a lot more behind to go to the moon, hope, and kind of gambling. It's got to be on the moon, and forgo things, especially and obviously not knowing what other races are doing. That not knowing could be a benefit, and just doing the moon especially knowing what we know, could work in their favor.
And meanwhile, we seem to be having some technical difficulties with Tybalt's stream. We've been assured by our resident restreamer Scholar Kitty that we are working diligently to get Tybalt back online here. So, Godspeed on the tech issues, and hopefully we'll be back to watching Tybalt's run. Cubs going for attempt number 2 at this blarg. Is Cubs out of Star Veils? Or do we not have a kit?
I think we got a kit. I think we got the standard kit. I just think he might not have any veils. There's chance they've been sold off. So right now, maybe not remembering that vanilla agility is on. That
Nope. Yeah. Sorry, no kits. I scrolled up and looked at the flags. So yeah, unless you found them in a shop, no star veils. And so Cubs is trying to get through this wyvern with just the speed.
I'm not sure if that's fast enough. Edge is definitely the fastest, can probably push the DPS, but since Cecil's the anchor, he can only get a few stuff, but only needs one wall and just enough, so...
There you go.
Yeah. And,
yep. Tell a wall the right character, and yeah, that one. Meanwhile, we saw Tybalt come back to staring at Globe 199 right in the face, so that's a little rough. The Defender Orb is back up and casting 3k hit point remedies out.
I think this is just full on offense and just take the Globe 199 on the chin. This is not much that can be done. Just hoping to survive and needing a few characters living. So I think the full offense will be interesting. With the occasional defender being revived and getting a heal remedy in, being strictly 10% of the maximum HP. Then that slows the process down. CPU always a big slog of a fight. I think Scythe is usually the best option. I remember mentioning there was a shot with a Scythe, and that would usually be a safer option. You get the damage in, you get the healing. Might be a little slow because the Scythe animation is a bit longer, but no, looks like reset and retry.
Yeah, this is a rough CPU spot. I've lost a couple tournament races because I've tried to be a little too cheeky and take this fight. I gotta say, with one objective, I would probably leave this CPU just on the table. And if I lose to that last location being there, so be it. It's not a difficult fight if you set it up and you kind of set up the rotation of, okay, you got your 2 damage dealers, you got your healing, and you just kind of keep going until you finish the fight. But in that spot, it just takes so. You've got the moon open. You've not seen a lot of free bosses. I don't know. I leave that orbs on the table. It's over me.
Yeah, there's I mean with K Moon also enabled on top of K Summon, this is not it almost behooves to fade. Tybalt, unfortunately, with the reset, has to redo the Mylon fight, so that's more time consumed. It actually makes more sense. It makes sense to just do the Mylon fade and just fade CPU, go to the moon. Moon has 5 boss spots. The LST has 5 boss spots. So we want to do Turtle last because it's just Turtle is a lot of just the pain in the rear, and not worth taking on until having a much stronger party to make use of, to kind of make do on him. So when there's a hard fight, probably sometimes worth fading. Come back to it when you are grinded, or at least have a lot more power at your side.
Yeah. I know I tend to be a minority in tournament runners where I will take a fast Fey March fight and then leave the second rude or second slow Fey March fight. A lot of most tournament runners you talk to really don't like to do that. They would, if you're going to take one fight, take both. I don't know. I tend to kind of I tend to look at both of the fights in isolation and just think, okay, if it's not a good idea now, it might never be a good idea. So yeah. But now we see Cubs Rule getting ready to launch the whale, so Cubs might be giving us our first peek at moon bosses.
Yeah, I think there's a common thing when it comes to like you first get to the underground, you have to decide whether you when you take a Fey March dip, do you want to have grinded? If when you have access to sirens, do you want to grind enough levels so you can just take on the King Queen Evelyn spot, King Queen Fey March spots immediately, or have to come back or take a peek and come back later? Some people decide, hey, I just want to show up once, not coming back. So they just do it effectively an egg grind, and beat up those spots, and then never have to worry about Fey March ever again. So I guess it depends on the runner and maybe what they feel at the moment. Sometimes there's a race where it makes sense to do it, sometimes it's not, and I don't fault anyone for picking either, but you sometimes, for the sake of time, think about it. Just decide, do one, and then commit to it, and not worry about the consequences until maybe when you look back at it.
Yep. Jay Brunter is showing us some swag rocks with Tella. So must have given the old man a Soma drop there earlier, because we saw some Tellarocks. That was fantastic swag there by Jay Brun. Tybalt also showing us that demist item is just a protect ring, so unfortunately nothing much at the top of the tower other than maybe the spoon to throw at the CPU.
I think if there's nothing worth from the CPU, then that should just be immediate reset. That spoon can be used for another boss, and many runners, when they yeet the spoon and get no worthwhile key item or piece of equipment obtained from it, that's just the reset. That spoon could be reused on a much more useful boss that would provide a better result. So Potato Turn not happy and resets. So this, CPU, not one of those bosses unless you're required to. Probably, sometimes it's a pain just to endure the fight.
Yep. I like what Cubs is doing here. Using some of those sirens and taking on some gold dragon fights in the Bahamut cave to get some levels. That's a nice quick way to gain levels, especially because you've got Fu able to cast weak, so you just kind of do a 1-2 punch with weak and then sling with any melee. Cubs showing us a little bit of tech here with the Ice 2 strat. So what a runner will try to do with this is Ice 2 with that delayed cast time. The goal behind that is to attempt to squeeze in a double life glitch into that Ice 2 cast window, and it's really nice when you can pull it off. It gives you a very, very good amount of XP for your time spent.
Yeah, some would prefer egg grinds. When you're kind of needing a grind, but you're kind of wanting to save a little time by being on the moon, I like the 2 King Ryu grind. It's a nice option, especially when you have hourglasses available, worthwhile. But I think I just saw Mr. Ha 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 himself in the, I don't remember which spot in the LST, but Tybalt stumbled onto the Laughing Man and probably made. I think he's just preparing for that battle. As sometimes when you see certain bosses, you want to spend a little bit of time trying to rearrange party, change agility, do a few other things in preparation for the fight itself. And it's the D Lunar spot that he's in. So that's a beefy spot for Kolbus to be in.
and unfortunately, E Ninja is walking back down the Tower of Zot. Ran into that Wyvern, ran into the same problem that Cubs did for a little bit, and just, yeah, no Star Veil, and yeah, ouch. I hate to see it.
I think this is it's just a reminder, when you have vanilla agility, you're like Sid typically is an anchor, or Sid or Tella, and even if both in the party, it doesn't matter. Cecil's dictating agility, which means that anyone slower than Cecil will never have their turn. So at best, an edge, which we do know is available from Dwarf, from completing Dwarf, would be faster than Cecil, and will has an actually chance to take on Blarg. So it's right now fading it. Probably not the worst thing though.
Yep. It looks like Ninja's going to head to the moon. Tybalt struggling with the Golbez also. Meanwhile, Cubs giving us the spicy play, taking on that Hinatsu. Was able to get one wave nerf off with Lit 1, and now we've got the Cecil. Yep, got the Cecil berserked up. So maybe in pretty good shape here at this point. Maybe one more nerf will do it. Yep, Gritty has timed that about perfect. I think Cubs will be in good shape there. Now Cecil's going to get 4 more swings with that Crystal Sword before Hinatsu is able to get some more again.
I think ideally Fu is the one trying to put some damage through Nuke onto the turtle. That would help a lot, but trying to keep the waves down is the priority, especially when it comes to the Kanazo fight. Any wave does damage based on the current HP of the boss, and if not taking any damage, the HP loss is pretty significant. Rydia would have never survived it anyways, because max HP not kind of one of the slower HP growing characters in the party. So, but as there's more damage dealt to Kinazo, that wave becomes less of a threat, to the point where you can probably, get some revives in, get some healing done, not worry about it. So, but once reaching shelf phase, that's a good sign. But that also means you better do some decent damage, or the remedies kind of get the turtle back up to fighting shape.
Yep. Meanwhile, Tybalt found one of those free fights on the moon that I was talking about earlier. Hit the Baron guards at the plague spot and got a Luca Q for his trouble. That's a pretty spicy pickup. Our Seal Cave could have something. Seal Cave could have one of those 2/4 pieces.
Yeah, I think for any of our runners, I think doing a full clear of LST is the best thing to do, just because there's still a plenty of gating key items that are still on the table, like Tower Key, Baron Key, the Pan. So there are things. There's some key items still available on table that kind of get more opportunities to get the Adamant and the Legend Sword, so as the required key item. So I think a full clear of LST is actually pretty much required until stumbled onto.
Yep. So, hey Tef, Cubs Roll picked up the Pink Tail from that Kinatsu. Guess which flag is not on?
Probably Adamant, because Adamant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No Adamants is not one of the flags listed in this flag set. So Cubs now has a free Adamant armor waiting for him, and that's exactly where it's going.
I mean, you need the safety. It's always worth picking up, because while not a weapon, but you basically get a free ribbon, a stat armor with 15 to all stats. I mean, they're hard to really pass up. That's just hard. You know, when especially with the seed, given the seed and with some struggling, you know, the adamant armor will pretty much make you know, Paladin and Cecil with the crystal burr. I mean, you pretty much unlocked the rest of the seed, and you could probably just run the Cecil Berserk on Z and pretty much not worry about the consequences. Probably, he could probably just live on his own without too much intervention. So, worth the pickup just for kind of peace of mind and safety for Z.
Yeah, if you watched any of the Adamant Cup races last spring, you saw the power that the Adamant armor can bring to the table, especially when you have a melee setup and you've got them back row glitched, and now you pretty much have a nigh invincible main damage dealer. Yeah, it's big. And another Excalibur. Plenty. You know what? T Standard is giving us plenty of shiny swords tonight.
Hey, Edge has something to do. That's what. If worse comes to worse, although Edge, from this flux set, I mean, you get from the seed rather, you get a master, instant master, and Mura went upon completing a dwarf. I mean, he's already just not just because he's online, you can throw more stuff. I mean, that's the dream when you have a ninja. That's the dream.
Oh, and Jay Brun, in that little bit of a messy situation where you take out the Mylon, but one of the gas is still left, they get very punchy when that happens. Thankfully, he's able to get through it before they become too much of a problem.
I don't even know. I actually don't know how that comes to be. Like you don't really see them punch ever, but the fact that they are kind of the lingering threat when you don't deal with them is kind of funny. Like, I mean, their main function in the main battle is to use drain when Mylon commands it, but when Mylon, you know, their master is gone, they do punch, and I guess leaving them to the devices, you know, you can make them punch really hard.
Indeed. And let's see. Jay Brunter's working towards that crystal sword. Cub's about to dive the LST. Let's see. E-Ninja. I think I saw E-Ninja go into the tower, heading towards the top of the tower right now. Yep. Tower of Babel. So E-Ninja will end up taking on the boss at the top of the tower for the spoon, or taking on the D-Mist for the spoon and the protect ring.
Yeah, there aren't too many options left on the table. I think Tybalt's connection is probably frozen. It's fine. It's fine. There, you know, probably never got to mention a lot of kind of the things you want to kind of prepare for Golbez. Poison usually helpful, but there's an unfortunate reset. You know, Golbez has been known to make a lot of resets because surprise, you weren't expecting it, and then you have to deal with the mess that is fighting the boss. One of the things it in vanilla, but also you also see the speed when you see the speed run, the kind of the glitch speed run, where you want to actually put a status on your characters before fighting Golbez. So one of the things, status priorities, particularly in Magic, paralysis is actually very low on the totem pole of status effects that affect. Like, there are a lot of stronger stat effects that prevent hold from working of death, but even like Piggy or Poison, they're actually higher on that tree of status effects. And Antlion on the moon, who would have thunk it? So yeah,
Antlion in his natural habitat. Yeah, Tipple's just gonna be like, nope.
Yeah, that's fun.
Cubs,
Something worth
Cubs
fading.
on the other hand, though, Cubs is not going to have that big a difficulty. I think the Antlion is not going to hit Cecil for that much. Depending on if we can keep the HP up from the counters.
Although right now, probably not. We'll just go full burr on Cecil, so don't cover, don't care. So that's, and oh yes, some Scythe. Although it's fine. It's a definitely fine usage. This although does the Rydia for Cubs rule have a heroine? Because that probably might be why it did so little damage.
Yep. And continuing with wow, and sometimes when I'm right, once in a blue moon. Yeah, another free fight number 2 here. The Dark Imps at the Crystal Sword altar for Tybalt.
Yeah, this is always a good thing. Although, I assume this is the Wyvern spot. That spot also very punchy, but size or Toad good enough to effectively neutralize the Dark Imps, and you can do pretty much whatever you want, even using the life glitch to get some even more XP if desired. So this is always effectively a free spot with bosses that don't have the boss bit. You have pretty much a lot of control when you can use an Hourglass or Size or Toad to effectively neutralize your bosses.
All right, Cubs through the Antlion for the Baron key. So that's two gating key items now at the bottom of the LST. So the seed just keeps growing.
I mean, for objective that has like a lot of variability, it's starting to become a pick a key item path, because we need to find the key item that opens up the key items we do need, and the longer it gets, the more fun there is down the road. But there are few options left. And we still have not found even one piece of the key, whether it's from any other spot. So right now, hoping Tybalt finds something that we need, and that's another gating key item. Who would have thunk it?
Who would have indeed? Our silver lining in all this is all of our runners found the pass at Antlion very early in the season. So even if we've got to go back to the Earth and do a lot more checks, we can take solace in the fact that if we full clear this, we just don't.
Yeah, that's always kind of the saving grace of the pass. Do I have to come back? If the answer is no, that's a wonderful thing. So I think the only key item that we haven't actually found that is gating is the tower key. But for now, I mean, there's a lot of options on the table. As soon as Tybalt and Cubs Rule have essentially completed their sweep of the LST, that's a good thing. Although has anyone completed the turtle? I thought someone did. I don't.
Cubs completed. Cubs got Peak Tail from the Kinatsu at Value Cave. So
that is surprisingly good value for the seed.
Yeah, and immediately took it back for the Adamant, which Cecil is using to great effect on this Golbez.
There's a pretty good chance that the rest are not going to, probably going to fade it anyway. So even while the pink tail is not required, but would save a lot of time, you have to fight that kind of hard boss as it is just to obtain it. So there's a pretty good chance that the rest of the runners don't bother and never obtain their free adamant. So not the worst thing, but it's also nice for Cubs. You were even not the intended reward, but totally worth it for the purposes of this seed.
Yep. So Cubs finding one half of that objective piece in that ribbon room behind that Golbez. So that Golbez is required. Now, Tybalt we see has set up killing off 3 other party members beforehand now has set up with that Cecil and Edge, so should be in much better shape at this point.
Yeah, it's a really popular strat. For lack of a better term, like it's like, why would you kill off your characters? Well, part of the global script is to, for the purposes of the randomizer, is to have everyone but 2 eliminated, two alive. I'm sorry, and that allows for some meaningful strats. So sometimes when you know there's a Golbez, and sometimes in early game where you don't have if you haven't picked up any character, you stumble onto a Golbez. Well, this is kind of the meaningful purpose. You have 2 functioning characters for the most part for the purposes of the fight, and not have to worry about too much about. You have pretty much control of who lives, who needs to live for the fight.
All right. We definitely need to see what happens at the Murrah altar, as long as Cubs doesn't forget to do it on the way out. But if the Murrah altar is not the adamant, and you're going back to the Earth, Cubs is about to get that pan. You've got Baron, Luca, and where do you go after you get back to the Earth?
Pan, because that's free. You'll stop if whether or not Sheila 1 has been picked up. I mean, that's free crystal sword. So obviously the runners who haven't done it don't know that, but you want to complete that before you have to take on a dungeon. So probably the easiest one to take on would be, say, Baron, because you have two key items, 3 bosses. So you want the key item density, so that makes Baron the more popular destination of what's on the table.
Yep. And Arifis in chat, kind of leading into what I was about to get into next. The other piece that makes this interesting, as you see, Jaybrun turned in that rat tail for the twin harp. Tybalt has that twin harp. Cubs does not. Cubs does not have the rat tail to turn in to get that twin harp yet. So that's another very interesting piece. So that's actually not a bad sequence, because Fabul's already done. You've got to walk through the lava tiles to turn that pan in. Twin harp is a very good check to do immediately after the pan turn. So we could see a music play here from Tybalt.
Yeah, I think when you have a situation where, especially with twin harp on the table, well, usually kind of it's an out of the way check. But when you're in a situation where you're already low HP, that power shirt, nice, but not what we're looking for.
Dollar store adamant armor.
Yeah, it's worth it. It makes sense to kind of route that in. Sometimes you want to route in like any trip to the Fey March or Sylph Cave, take a lot of damage, and then do twin harp, because might as well get your free healing and easy method of trying to wipe out your own party to speed up the entire harp process. So it's certainly a thing that runners do, and makes a lot of sense, even when it doesn't seem to make sense on the surface, but worth doing when you kind of get used to that sequence.
And the pan turn in just yields a Stardust Rod for that foo, so wait, you can see a music play from Tybalt, or we see something else here. So I would think, did Tybalt do the Murasame altar? I don't remember seeing it, but
Cubs is doing, I think, which is
Cubs is working on it right now.
It's vanilla.
Yeah, Cubs is working on it right now, but did Tybalt? Tybalt also yep, and that's just what I was thinking. Tybalt showing us he is the man of the people and is going to give us a music check.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Now that I saw that again from Cubs, I remember seeing that on Tybalt's side. Yeah, that is another X count.
Yep, more darts. Nice thing about harp is hey, you know that tune that Edward plays. It's a nice tune, and I love it. But you know, hey, this is a randomizer, and we can make a different tune play because you know we can. There's over like 400 tunes that are available, and you know it's I don't even know how many how many I've heard. I just know there are too many it's too many to tell, and you know some of them there are some tunes from certain games more than others because hey, one of our contributors, Xenocat, loves Xenogears, so it's hard to tell. So while it's time to see what Spoony B is playing, I think we'll take a moment to be quiet and let everyone hear those wonderful tunes.
All right, and our friends in chat saying lunar, but unfortunately the twin harp only yielding the package. Ouch.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things when you kind of when you're gambling, hoping twin harp is the solution, but you know, it just happened that you know you went through a lot of damage tiles, so it's a nice way to go, but unfortunately not what we're looking for. So Baron again looks to be the next place to go at the moment. So I think, but looking typical public for a shop, hoping for a specific item, maybe some star veils, or something, because that was because there's 2 item shops in Troya, the town. So worth looking, because when you have 2 item shops, you have 2 opportunities for some of the J items you need, and so because the second shop is in vanilla is the pass, so that's why there's a second item shop.
Yep, exactly. Arifus, the Masa was the item granted at the very start of the game, from Dr. Luge at the Baron 1 spot, I believe.
Yeah, it's always good to keep in mind what the initial item is, because once the edge is picked up, it's like, oh yeah, I hope I forgot. I hope I didn't sell the weapon that I got for free at the very beginning. And there's plenty of things to pick up. Like the white spear is the item after completing the Tower of Zot. So, and we haven't seen a cane yet. Not that we're looking for a cane, but it's there.
Yep, and now we have E-Ninja going back to that CPU, trying to get us that item that's there. I mean, it's still a possibility. Our rock could still be there. But Cubs making the Baron play does not have that twin harp, so going straight to Baron Castle. we know the Twin Harp was a Zonk, so this may be okay for Cubs.
Wasn't the Baron from the antlion on the moon, on the Ogo spot? Because that's what Tybalt's missing, and that's so if the key item is the key item that we're looking for is through Baron, Cubs would be in a huge lead. So it's kind of we'll kind of find out really soon if Baron is the way to go.
Yeah, you're right about Tybalt missing that one. Our tracker Beauty and Discovery reminding us, no, CPU is a Zonk. Dave Run got through them all. Thank you, Beauty, for that. I know we saw a lot of resets out of that CPU, so I definitely missed that one.
It's a fight that gets kind of. I mean, the fact that it's a slog in itself, it's hard to keep track, but also like there's just so much fading, and sometimes it's worth fading. Like there are times that we kind of laugh about, hey, if you actually took on the boss, you would have gotten it, and sometimes in this instance, that isn't the case. So unfortunately, it's an apple, so don't care. Tybalt doesn't care about the boss, so Cubs rule is kind of in the driver's seat, at least for some knowledge. There's still that is actually the only other thing that we're looking for, so it could still be behind Baron, although Baron could lead to a tower key, which would lead to whatever is required. So D-Lunars are gone, though.
I think we've seen every other possibility at this point. So I think our go mode is going to be a Baron into tower key into super cannon chain for the adamant. And there's our Rosa.
Sorry, Rosa. It's a bit late. Oh wait, I think no, he didn't Rydia. Interesting. But does that mean second grind is on the table? That seems like that's, or no, although because right now we know Cecil's the anchor, so this is, if Cubs thinks it's not vanilla, then it would be a mistake to replace Rydia with a Rosa that Kit will kind of be an anchor, and maybe hoping for a snapshot being slingshot rather, being that the characters that are 5 levels below the median, the middle level, not the average, will get double the XP gained for their character, and I think so Cubs is now looking at the Odin spot. That's another spot that I neglected to think about when looking at that chain there. So yeah, you definitely want to check your Odin throne. I think this is full leg. No, I think this is full leg. No.
This is quarter leg. We saw that earlier.
Yeah, we saw what the real Ruby at the other spot. So yeah, sorry. It's been a while. This has been a seed. We're looking through everything because, again, needle in a haystack. Legend Sword found at the D-Lunars spot. D-Lunars dual treasure chest area. So we're still looking for the adamant rock, and we found it. It's over. It's time to go.
That's it. That's go mode for Cubs Roll 21. We do not have to go destroy the super cannon. Adamant was behind Baron Key in the Baron basement.
Yeah, it's so Tybalt decides to go for the CPU. Although but unfortunately fading the antlion on the moon at the Ogo spot is unfortunately was not the play. I mean, when you're committed to the LST, you want to clean it out, and I understand the fading, but I don't think antlion at that is this kind of as strong as you think. The counter is just kind of a nuisance, kind of counterattack, and that spot is the Ogo spot, which normally punches anyways, is manageable, at least generally speaking. So it's not as threatening as you would think it is. So it's usually understandable. It's understandable that you face something that seems a little more difficult, but it unfortunately is where the important key item that is required. That is where it is.
And that's Death, I think you called it. Cubs is cracking some more eggs to level that Rosa up. So, yeah, I think we're just going to see your Cubs is going to go for kind of full party, power overwhelming, Cecil Anchor setup here.
I mean, right now it's designed to be a full berserker. I mean, Rosa, all she needs to learn is QR4 and then call it, and then just go. Don't need white. We don't need real power over him. We just need Rosa to just cast QR4. And usually QR4 is usually enough to just for Rosa. I mean, that's usually where Rosa's reasonably tanky enough to fight Z. So it's not. It's at least a reasonable. You don't have to go all the way to white to grind. So that's, I mean, if you really want insurance to go, you can go to white. But I think if you're trying to speed through the seed, just learn Cure 4, just saw it. So time to go at this point.
Yeah, and Cubs could also then just swap out that adamant armor, unless that reset after Sheila 2 also reset out of that power shirt from Sylph Cave. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but yeah, Zeromus doesn't really use any elemental attacks, so you can swap around the adamant armor before the Z fight without too much concern.
I mean, Rosa is a good candidate. Fu is also a good candidate. Cecil's probably the general candidate because you want the extra offense and techiness that goes with it. Has a lot of I mean, you're guaranteed effectively 1.5 magic evasion multipliers, magic defense multipliers. It's really magic evasion, so and that's usually significant enough for most any character to be kind of absorbing or evading a lot of the damage that Big Bang comes with. So not even that, just nuke itself, and that's usually pretty strong.
Yep, and I mean, just in case you didn't have enough adamant armors and power shirts, yeah, the shop's got it. Meanwhile, look at what do we got over here. Jay Brunter, showing us his affinity for the Pink Puffs, taking on a Pink Puff fight.
Please. Is the rumor true that we end the stream if an animate actually drops from them? Please. Yeah, and instead of dropping a pink tail as the randomizer uses that for a key item, the Pink Puffs instead now just drop a adamant armor in the slot that would have normally dropped a pink tails. Which, unfortunately, that is the rarest item in that spot. So if it happens, it would be a miracle.
Yep. Meanwhile, Cubs has shown the pass, is heading down that shortcut to Zeromus. Escrunt showing us Z flag. Yeah. Escrunt, I know it's past my bedtime, but you don't have to wave the flag. Okay, that was a bad joke. That's why do we have Z flags?
I thought it was time to go to bed. No, you know what? Zeromus is the final boss of this game. We can't move him. Kind of difficult to move around. Big boss, but you know how that the sequence where Zeromus changes forms? Well, because this is a randomizer and randomizing things is a fun treat. Scalakility and others have contributed over 500 things we can see. And 600 now. 600. It's more than I last counted. Unless we're told. So there is a buttload of sprites that we can see, and the question we love asking every night when we fight Z: whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
And is the butt cute, or does the butt have a hat?
important questions must be asked.
Questions. Oh, come on. Don't show the Z sprite and the pink puff fight at the same time. Got to see both the results. Come on.
Flurry.
We've got Flurry Miss.
Flurry. I think I'm sure he's Flurry's been participating in a lot of the tourneys, had fair share of wins. So winning getting your own sprite for as kind of a prize, always nice. So yeah, that's the power of Z, having a sprite that we can make it look like anything. That's the value. Indeed.
And it doesn't look like Cubs is going to have too terrible much difficulty. We've got a 4K HP Yang, 3K HP Cecil, swinging the Crystal Sword. First Big Bang was nerfed. Even with vanilla agility, I think it'll be in good shape. Edge is not even berserk. Edge has got more than enough stuff to throw.
Yeah, with this party comp, I don't remember when the Yang was picked up, but Yang doesn't need much in the way of equipment. Like claws don't add to the attack power that much. I mean, they'll be boosting multipliers if you get cat claws, but for the most part, a Yang just needs levels to do work. And when you see Yang with a truckload of HP, that means Yang will be doing work with not too much help.
E-Ninja has just discovered the package at Twin Heart. Tybalt is checking the Pale Dim spot. Tybalt got the pink tail. Don't think he went back for the adamant armor, though.
I think that would be something done on the way, but at this point hasn't reached the necessity maybe to right. I mean, probably be worth on the way back, but probably before Z fight to do it, but still has to actually take care of the ant lion. So that's kind of the problem at the moment. We'll find out that get another dart to pick up as Sheila has had the crystal for a while, so having an Xcal doesn't do much outside of +1 dart.
And Rosa takes a late amount of damage on Cubs Rule's side, so that's probably going to clinch. That's probably going to clinch the fight for Cubs here.
Yeah, when you have berserkers, all you care about is healing. You don't really need to do extra damage. You could, but for this purpose, for safety, it's fine. But we have rocks falling, so we're pretty much at the end. It's like 12,000 HP or less, so it shouldn't be too long.
And that is the shake. That is the death. GG Cubs Rule 21. Official time of 1:44:53, and first of our runners on the restream. And if the number I'm seeing is not mistaken, looks like the winner overall of the race. GG Cubs.
Yeah, that's GG's there. I mean, this seed had everyone doing things that you probably don't really see them doing, because it's a very different race when you have technically 2 key items lodged under so many other things effectively required to complete the seed, like LST dive, and which has a Baron key that required after clearing out of LST, so which also means you needed darkness, and that is a lot of work to just for one objective. That took a lot of work.
Yep, definitely. Tybalt appears to be heading down to that antlion.
Yep,
So
and yeah, can't fade that because knowing that I think for Tibble, I think that probably kind of the last location type of thing at this point because did the unnecessary CPU and this is for him. I think it's definitely the last location. So so knows exactly this is the place to be. I mean, threw away the spoon, so knows that this fight means business.
yeah, and I don't think Tybalt has the adamant armor, so this is gonna be he's gonna have to keep on his toes to get through this one.
Yeah, it's that should be more than fine. Berserk Cecil should be more than enough to take care of it. One kind of a unique aspect of the counter that the Antlion does. Regardless of the spell power at the spot, it only has a spell multiplier. The spell itself limits a spell multiplier of 1, so it is actually very easy to evade.
And Tybalt is through with no issue, so Baron Key, and as long as Tybalt remembers to check the Baron basement before that tower key, he will be well on his way to Zeromus shortly. E-Ninja is now cracking eggs, catching up there in power level, and eventually have no problem completing his checks. J-Brun trying to get through that required Golbez a little bit tougher without the Cecil swinging the Crystal Sword. Not able to take advantage of that Holy Sword bonus.
I think J-Hunter probably remembered that Vanilla Cecil's on, so the use of Tella as the anchor makes a lot of sense, but that also means the offense is a little bit different than kind of most are used to. So it's kind of one of those interesting decisions made. Like, I mean, I've been talking about, hey, why not eat Cecil? Well, Jay Bruncher took that to heart a little bit. Thought, Cecil's kind of screwing up my fights a little bit, and Wyvern fight typically kind of probably brought a reminder to the runners. Cecil is our anchor, so having Cecil yeeted, at least in the case of Jay Brunter, makes sense. So, but that also, changes the outlook. I think there was I'm not if Jay Brunter went up. No, Jay Brunter definitely went up. No, did Jay Brunter went up Zot? Because that would have.
Yes.
It would have been an opportunity to replace Sid with a Yang. Yang what was on the table, and we see Cubs took the Yang because it made sense to grind with Rosa for the levels. So the offense with a Sid, at least towards the late game, is not really that optimal. I don't think we found an Artemis bow. I think we probably made. I'm not sure we found a samurai bow. That would have those, bow and arrow Sid. When not needed for anchoring duty it's okay, but it's I guess better than what he would normally have as an endgame weapon.
Right. Jabron did do Zot, by the way. That's where the foo came from. The straight up offense, to me in this fight, is not so much of an issue. Again, that lack of kit coming back to haunt our runners. J-Bun is through though, as Golbaz is asking why. But yeah, had to scramble a little bit more with food to keep those walls up because of no star veils. And finding a Legend Sword in the Crystal Ring for his trouble, and he's halfway there. Tybalt is now in the Baron basement, so he will find his go mode very shortly. But yeah, the tournaments for the past few years of Free Enterprise have always had the kits in the flag sets. Pretty much every ladder flag set has kits in it, maybe with the exception of SMS. So runners aren't used to of not having that kit. It's kind of it's kind of a shift back to, like I said, like it's kind of the theme here, much earlier days of Free Enterprise. Anyway, that said, we are joined in the booth by our winner, Cubs Rule 21. Cubs, GG, man. Fantastic run.
Thank you. What was that?
I tell you what, we wanted a throwback. We wanted a throwback with with everything that the old school FE entails, and the seed delivered.
I don't know that I've ever been more upset at a seed after seeing that crystal sword. Well, you hit a T8, you hit a tier 8 in Evelyn on T standard. That doesn't happen.
But it happened. That's how the randomizer works.
Yeah, and then it's like, no, it doesn't matter. Just here, how I'm like, well, okay, that's 15-20 minutes down the drain. Also, shoutouts to the life staff on the first trout chest. After I realized I didn't have life potions at that point.
Yeah, that's been an issue multiple times among the 4 screens that we're seeing. Is no kit. That's a big deal.
Wyvern without Star Veils was fun. Golbez without Star Veils was not as bad, thanks to the adamant, but still fun. Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, though, the key items kind of dictated how you play this seed out. Despite things becoming wide open, party comp early on, party comp and power early on became quite a puzzle. So that's kind of where my main question is for the runners of the seed Cubs is, what's going through your mind as you're finding the early gear, the early characters, and trying to put together a solution for how you're going to do this seed that very quickly just became wide open?
Well, so honestly, as soon as I saw the tele, I was planning for a D machine because I wasn't expecting to find anything gear-wise on T standard. I was not happy with that Val. I was not happy that seeing that taking the early wipe at Baron Inn. I don't know. I've never been so happy to see a dancing dagger. It's like, hey, wait, I can take out that Val now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Val normally doesn't trouble. Like we see a lot of trouble with, Val back attack on the bridge, but no, this Val on the Mylon side, that was a sight to see, especially with the characters you were given.
Yeah, it still got the same physical evade, but thankfully none of the magic.
I think your main magical offense was Tela at the time, and that even thought that no magic evade probably can't capitalize that much with that.
No, I cannot count on multiple recall viruses, which is what that was gonna take. No, slow, but Dancing Dagger pretty much saved that seed at the beginning there. And then talk about a loaded moon. There was nothing on Earth. Everything was behind that moon.
Yeah, I mean, all four of the runners on Restream really kind of, you said you were worried about the wipes, and then you kind of bonking around at Val. I did not see a single runner on this Restream that did not have to beat their head against the same walls. Like, that was the thing. But yeah, that's what we were like. I was shocked to not see folks like kind of do something cheeky and try the moon sooner, because after the early game kind of played out, we realized pretty quickly in the booth there's still a lot of free bosses out there, and sure enough, 2 of the fights are free. they all kind of became free once you found adamant armor, but
Yeah, I could not get back to Earth fast enough to turn that one. I'm like, I had to double check the flags first. I'm like, excuse me, be right back. No, that moon. Antlion kind of set Golbez up perfectly. And, of course, both of those required. Go figure.
yeah, welcome, welcome back to old school free enterprise. Yeah, that's about all I have though. Just like thinking about the party comp early and seeing how that shakes out. Death, you got anything else for Cubs?
No, I mean, for the most part, I mean, the high variability. I mean, like the classic objective, super high variability. I mean, they could be easy to find or lodge under what you've just played run through. I mean, could you have imagined this seed turning out the way it did because of that high variability?
Yeah. I think the only other seed I've done of these, I think I was a half hour behind everyone else because, of course, you pick the one spot to fade and you're done. It does remind me of the very early bits of Free Enterprise. I remember I caught the tail end of ZZ1 before the objective system was in place. And I remember not being thrilled with the crystal hunt, and so I just kind of tuned out until basically ZZ3 table. But this is kind of a nice hybrid with the single objective as opposed to just, find the crystal and go. I kind of like this.
Yep, definitely indeed, and it kind of, it definitely lends itself to a lot of variance as Steph was talking about. Yeah, Cubs. Any other thoughts on the seed or the format?
No. There was interesting seed. Scala once again living up to her namesake. I'm very interested in watching this one back and seeing what happened. Appreciate both of you on comms tonight. God, I can't even. Brain is failing. Beauty tracking. Thank you very much. No, very much looking forward to watching this one back and. Just wow. I'm still kind of in shock.
Well, it was definitely a fun one from our side, Cubs. GG again, and hey, looking forward to seeing some more of your races in 2023.
I do want to say I apologize for summoning Flurry into the seed. I pinged him in the race room, screwed around. I did not imagine we'd see Flurry just hiding in the seed like this. But hey, what's she gonna do? Well, thank you very much, y'all. Everyone, have a good night. Thank you.
GG's again, Cub.
All right, and once again, everyone, your winner, Cultural 21, with a time of 1:44.53. Tybalt is about to join him in the illustrious group of folks that were able to complete this fine seed. Taking on Florimus. We've got 2 characters down, but Fu just got another tier 4 off on Cecil and another Bacchus, so we might be okay here.
Probably, although I don't know, I'm a little uncomfortable having Sid being not under control, but I guess for a little more offense, still to make sure that Fu doesn't go down at any point, as it is still possible. So, if Fu goes down, then everything runs on Cecil, and that's not the safest the gambles. It can still work out. It's just one of those. Sid usually has enough HP to tank a big bang. If Fu goes down and Sid is kind of off on his own, it could be it might be a reset if things go poorly, and it can always go poorly in a Z fight.
Yeah, Nuke on Cecil, 3 Cure 3s left.
I think that should be enough, but we'll see. I'm really uncomfortable seeing, Sid not being the potion guy, just more the emergency healer, as it were. But hoping to Cecil doing most of the work to finish the seed. So that's hoping.
As long as this Big Bang does not high roll on food. Yep. Another Cure 4 off, we should be fine. E-Ninja getting through the Baron guards, finding the Luca key. Hopefully E-Ninja will be able to kind of full clear the rest of this moon and pick up the rest of the stuff that he needs. Jay Brunter cracking eggs. Looking well on his way to power overwhelming despite no paladin.
It's probably fine. Probably needs the backup, but I see rocks on Tybalt's screen, so not too far, and probably not as concerned because Fu is out of MP, but that's okay. Cecil will call it a day, as shouldn't not be too long to Z falls.
And that is the cracked flash shake on Tybalt's screen. GG's to Tybalt.
GG's to Tybalt. Yeah, I thought Tybalt was ahead until the particular event where just fading antline and yep. He's here.
Yep, and we are joined in the booth by Tybalt the Gambler. Tybalt, that was a seed. GG, my friend.
Yeah, that was a seed. Vanilla agility is a thing.
Vanilla agility is indeed a thing.
And you want to know what I realized it?
Blarg.
No.
Oh,
no.
Really?
When I went to go to the moon to face Kainazo, I'm like, I'm gonna switch my anchor.
Oh my.
Hold on a second. Is vanilla agility on? Scroll down my tracker. Vanilla agility. That explains everything.
Oh, yeah, I thought vanilla Blarg. I mean, Blarg would have been a hint because Blarg always reminds you, hey, do you know who your anchor is? That is always the first thing I think, outside of not having the basic kit, that you're used to, the star veils, the forget the lightning item, things that you're used to, the things that you're just used to.
The reason why is because I actually had Cecil in the center slot for Blarg at Zot 1.
So you didn't.
He was the fastest person I had at the time. He was going to go in slot 1 anyways.
Yeah, so you're still playing that way. Just Cecil just happened to be your chosen anchor.
Well, usually in the overall during the overall checks, that kind of included, except for Zot 2, you want to be fast anchored for all the overworld. That's just what you want to do. So I mean, I had Sid with a CPU, just the CPU getting the instant Globe 199 the first round. I'm like, wow, okay, interesting. Never had that happen before. Whatever.
Oh goodness. Yeah, and Death and I were kind of sitting here talking like, okay, do all our runners remembering that vanilla agility is on, right? Because I think with the exception of Jay Brunter, who ended up discarding Cecil, like everybody's leveling up Cecil. So it's like, hey, okay, I guess we're going for it and we're rolling the dice on holy swords, or we may be forgetting vanilla agility at some point.
It's so hard to get rid of Cecil because
mean, I found an X-Scale in Evelyn. I was just going in there for cash because I wanted, enough for sirens, goblins. I wanted money. Of course, I'm just fighting nothing but 40 GP. And like, really? Gotta love S standard. And then I spike an X-Cal. I'm like, all right, cool. Cecil's on the team. He's staying. I've got an X-Cal. I know her black belts are for sale. Cool. And then Sheila gives a crystal sword. And you're like, gotta keep him.
No, definitely. I mean, you see Crystal, you have Cecil. That Cecil says yes, and that's hard to disagree with that. It's, I think early on, that early Val, how much fun was that? Especially with the party composition that was available that early in the game.
I wish I had bought more vampires, to be honest. I was a little sketchy on whether or not, like, do I have enough to get through it? Like, I know she can be hit with magic, which I'm glad I had the vampires, but it's just like, I'm out of vampires, I'm out of J items, come on, 35 at a time.
Oh yeah. So as you're getting these characters early, and you're seeing like, okay, I got a hook. What's kind of going through your head with this early pick, and like even until you did Varian and a potential hook?
Well, I went down the hook route. Gated characters, Edge and Fu are great additions to the team. So I'm like, I'm gonna check the hook route for the character. I've got Tella with Exit. It's fine. I haven't turned my Cecil online yet to turn him into a paladin. I can at least see who's there, and I'm great with Edward. I'm like, not exactly who I wanted to see here, but fine. It's another character. So be it. Cecil will get a slingshot when I decide to go underground, either via hook route. Either I go to Evelyn to get levels and I'll get a bit of a slingshot, or if I decide to go Magma Key, if I find it, I can get him Sirens possibly, and get him slingshot with a bunch of levels and have a really powerful Cecil. Again, not thinking vanilla agility is a thing.
Yeah, I think you were one of the first runners to get the Darkness Crystal, and then and you had the Rydia, and you found Leviathan. I think you probably tried to sell the farm a little bit to get the Leviathan. It was an interesting advantage you had, and then kind of walk us through on just kind of giving it all to Rydia for a little bit.
Leviathan's amazing, especially if like a tiara or like a charm, something to give her some extra stats. Leviathan early game, or even partway through the mid game, is such power because it's like Palam's Quake if you don't find Palam. So you can give Rydia a super power boost and do 3-4k around with Leviathan, which is great. You don't have to worry so much about Palam. Yeah, it costs 40 grand, but I mean, you already got the Rydia. Why not utilize it? And again, I don't think at that time, I had the Magma Key, so it's like, if we're going down a hook route, I want Rydia with Leviathan. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid choice. I think you had something to add, White Sky?
So Tibble, what did you think when you got the pink tail from Kinatsu?
I got the pink tail from Kinatsu. I'm like, at this point, it's 50-50 between the top of the moon and the bottom of the moon. I'm like, please don't make it be Antlion. No. Please, no. I don't want to walk all the way back down again.
Yep. So going back to remembering flags, you remember what else is not a flag?
Oh.
No adamants was off.
I did not. I never even thought about it.
Yep.
Never even crossed my mind.
That was the major difference between you and Cubs. Was as soon as Cubs got the pink tail from Kinatsu, he immediately went back, got the adamant armor, and then adamant armor just trivialized Antlion at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did a bunch of darting, like I darted the spoon, an Excal, white spear. Just dart the farm.
Also a fine strat, but yeah. So it was interesting to see, just the difference in tournament flags of today versus what we were running tonight, and just like how much that threw runners off. I mean, we were talking with Cubs like, hey, there's no kits. That's affecting a lot of fights.
Yeah, no kits, no Thor, and have Cure 3s and Thor Ages both an Aggert. Oh. And I got stuck by double NPCs. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go steal a Silkwood before I go to Z, and then I remembered, oh wait, no J items from stealing.
Nope.
I almost popped the siren, like I landed the airship in front of Kakol. I'm like, I'm gonna pop a siren. Wait, no, that's off. Can't do that.
Yeah, the effectively the throwback flags have had a major difference. I mean, we have so many strategies dependent on so many flags being enabled, and this throwbacks flag probably threw I think everyone a loop in one way, shape, or another.
Thing is if you decide to go top down, and like you clear out Earth, which you can, and you decide to go top down, you can easily take that Kainazo on if you have the Thor Ages and Bacchus, much like I did. And you get that pink tail before you even start traveling down the moon. That trivializes Golbez, that trivializes Antlion, Dimps, Guards, like everything gets trivialized by that adamant armor successful with the Crystal Sword. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
So, I mean,
That makes complete sense.
Yep. That's a thing.
Because that Golbez was out to get me.
Yeah, and half the runners without star veils. Yeah, a hard cast wall is not holding up very long against a ribbon room Golbez.
Oh no! I mean, I had 2 Star Veils, but actually I had Star Veils run out on me, and I'm like, that never happens. But then again, I didn't exactly have, in my mind, a great anchor because I didn't have a curse ring or anything like that. And then I got Cecil some mobiles from the Dimps at Crystal Room, and everything went smoother. And I'm like, okay, it's fine, whatever.
Well, that's all I've got. You got anything else for Tybalt?
No, just wondering any other thoughts on the siege. I mean, this siege took everyone for a ride.
Oh, I mean, you've got the required Golbez at Ribbon Room and required Antlight at Masamune. Yeah, that's no fun. No fun at all. I will say I'm happy I crumble skip Plague. I was so happy with that.
Oh, well done.
At Zatu.
I thought it was a good show of skill and some, quirks of the game. The crumble skip being, elements that element spots they do the crumble, and if you kill them with the kamikaze, it's a nice explosion with no crumble. How nice is that?
Oh, no crumble makes it go so much faster, and Plague being the one boss you don't want to have crumble because he takes so long. Because the extra counts above the characters make his crumble last the longest.
Oh, that's always nice to know.
You gotta love the interesting lag factors from 1990s game.
Oh yeah. Well, that's all for me. Thanks for doing the restream, Scala, and tracking from doing Discovery, and just like my 2 Sky. I mean, thanks for doing the comments. We couldn't do this without you. Say it every time. We may run, but you're also the bread and butter, because people can watch us but may have no idea what's going on.
It's much appreciated, Tybalt, and again, always love watching you race. looking forward to seeing more of it this year.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've got more Freedom Fries going on tomorrow, if I remember correctly. I have to mention that.
Yes, we do. I believe we have the Baron's Heroes Journey at 3 Eastern tomorrow.
Yeah.
Saturday's Heroes Journey Day. Who are we featuring this week?
It's the Bard. Yes, it's the Bard.
It is the Spoony Bard.
Hope that seed starts with a spoon, or we can't meme properly. GG's again, Tibble.
Yep, GG's. Have a good one.
All right, and once again, that was Tybalt the Gambler. Tybalt's finish time of 2:03:09 was actually still good enough for third place. So GG's again to Tybalt. Jay Brunter, meanwhile, during this last interview, managed to find both forge pieces and has now approached Zeromus. Jay Brunter, the only runner on our restream that has taken on the seed without the Cecil and without the Holy Swords the seed has to offer. So this will be a fine finish for our newly minted grandpa.
I mean, this. I mean, he has 3 old men in his party. I mean, you got the Mop, you got Tella, and Sid. Well, doesn't look old, but he's the older character. So I mean, there's Tella being the anchor, knowing that Cecil is the vanilla anchor. You know, it makes a lot of sense. Makes the fight safer, even though the offense may not be as good, but should be more than enough. And I think this is what I think. Right is at nuke level, so I think we might be seeing reflex strats with a bit of a lot of things tossed at Z. So that should be something different to see for viewers. Some reflex strats being pretty popular. Although never mind, we're gonna go hybrid, I think, at this point.
Yeah, we've got Berserks on both Sid and Edge. This is going to first nuke here is going to be the Nerf nuke. But yeah, we'll see if J-Run opts for hybrid the rest of the way out. It's funny you mentioned the 3 old men in J-Run's party. Knowing what I know about him, it would not surprise me if that was intentional. Like not because I'm dodging an illegitimately, but because like, hey, I am leaning into the grandpa theme.
I mean, why not? Go full meme all the way. I can't. I mean, there's something to be said to having one of the old men in the party. They all have a role. Fu being probably the better part of it, but you have the old men typically end up being anchors. Not so much Fu, but both Sid and Tella serve a very prominent role in anchoring a team, and some kind of underrated. Like I think Tella's usually the more popular option because he has more utility. But Sid having the kind of a tank HP tank. Often will kind of save your bacon because he has enough HP to take on a big bang. Like Tella falls over with a sneeze. But Sid, will take a full big bang, no questions asked, and that's always, sometimes always something in a seed where sometimes there's some boss spots. Having a large HP tank really is handy.
We see the Edge swinging for 4K a pop, so it's a 5K there. Wow. So it's no crystal sword, but no crystal sword, no problem with this Edge hitting this hard.
I mean, we got full Hanzo from the beginning to when we pick him up. I mean, it's hard to ask for better. I think Jay Brunter's Edge also has an adamant, so I'm not sure if his Edge got a hang of a boomerang or the full moon to back row glitch, because that would affect the damage. But looks like pretty normal damage, so that's all more than enough to be happy with for DPS. So that should be enough to carry on to safe enough for the rest of the fight.
Yep, and E Ninja just got his crystal also. So our restreamed runners Finishing up what's we've gone on about this tonight for sure, but this has definitely been the seed. So, very impressive display from all 4 of our runners tonight.
At this point, I don't know where we got the tower key from all of this. And tower key obviously not required, but it, in such a race, you always want to know what your gating key items and have complete access to them. Because to kind of eliminate all the possible pinch spots of where your key items are. Those typically are like, you kind of want to think them as like kind of like a reroll on the key item you need, because they might get you to where you need to be. In this instance, the Baron key was the key required for the other part of the for the adamant. So that is. I think I do, and I also remember the Artemis bow was part of the cockle shop. So that's certainly why Sid has been seen as the arrow, the bow and arrow guy.
So Jaybrun showing us even more swag. Fu, Sid, and Edge, all 3 dodged that meteor.
Even how rare it is to see Sid evade anything. That is he usually doesn't. That is not a common occurrence. I mean, that it takes a lot of luck. He needs armor to get all that magic evasion, and it takes a while to get even one evasion multiplier. That is a tough thing to see on Sid. And that looks like it's it. Z going down after
that
a Fug.
Yep. Florimus fighting the dust for a 3rd time tonight on our restream. GG to Jay Brunter. Finish time of about 2:23:18. Haven't seen the official one come in yet. But 2:23:03.
Yeah, GG's to Jade Brunter. Like placing in 5th overall on 3rd on the restream. And Jay Brunter has declined an interview. That's all right. Seeing the seed having its way for a lot of runners, it's hard to put into words sometimes how difficult and how many things you're used to in a normal free enterprise seed, and so in the kind of trips and tribulations, just to run the seed, it's more difficult than average because of the high variance.
And I've mentioned it before. I definitely give props to Jay Brunter for taking the strat of playing around that vanilla agility flag and going without the Cecil. There was it was still a tough seed regardless of what party comp you chose, and Jay Brun being able to put that solution together, nothing short of fantastic.
Yeah, it is hard to turn down a Crystal Sword Cecil, and this, sometimes you need a lot more finer control over agility. Cecil, eating a Cecil is not the worst thing. Sometimes it could be the optimal thing. I don't probably not. And there might be seeds there where this is maybe a better idea. I think this is just. I mean, sometimes just to get control over your agility. Sometimes eating the Cecil is the option you might want to take when you don't have power overwhelming.
Indeed. Speaking of power overwhelming, E-Ninja is definitely bringing that to bear for his Z fight. Sid sporting 5,400 hit points, Edge 3,200, Cecil in the middle swinging the shiny stick. Rosa fully kitted out. This will be short and sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty safe. When you have Rosa, essentially 2,700 HP or more is safe. Big Bang, in a worst case, Big Bang. It's kind of the default spell multiplier is like around 9. So having 2,700 HP is effectively the perfect HP to be safe. I mean, there's still HP leak going on, but for the most part, the Rosa, this E-Ninja's Rosa is pretty safe. So that's all you really need to know. When your party's safe, you can just let the swings fly. Yeah, you see those? You see the quad digit damage? Yeah, not too concerned. They're very safe HP levels going on there.
And rocks already. All the damage that party's putting out.
Surprising, all of them got hit by rocks. That is usually you have at least a multiplier to evade. Doesn't matter, power overwhelming. And Z going down.
And that is it for E-Ninja. Official time of 2:27:12. Sixth finisher overall. GG E-Ninja. Tough seed, but all 4 of our restreamed runners finished. Wow. Usually when you see seeds like this, you'll have a. But hey, we got everybody through tonight. Fantastic job by all of our runners.
Yeah, I think when people we are joined by E-Ninja. GG's E-Ninja. We are joined by E-Ninja.
That's been the general consensus. At GG though, I mean,
Yeah.
you got through it. It took you a little while to find the setup, but you did, and yeah, you completed it.
Yeah.
I think I am gonna lead into what I've led into the other runners. I think the biggest part of this seed was just figuring out that early party comp, finding that power. What's going through your mind the early game?
Well, let's see. I mean, we had a successful start. I was thinking, it was interesting. I mean, it was went up ordeal, saw Val there. I was like, no, that's not happening till I have some sort of way of piercing through the tornado. Because Roy didn't have no spellcasters at the time. So I decided to go up Zot, saw a Wyvern there. I was like, oh. So it was kind of like weird.
Yeah, I think just the Val, while in a pretty safe spot, was still difficult. Like, we're used to Val in the back attack being a pain, but in the Mylon spot, and then Blarg and Zot 1. Yeah, those are tough spots especially with the characters you started. Like, I mean, you have a Tella. You found a Tella that you wanted to get online on top with the Cecil, and then
yeah, Baronin wasn't very fun either with the Baronin 2.
Oh yeah, Magus Sisters.
No,
Yeah,
Mom Bomb.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Mom Bomb was 2. Magus Sisters was 1, yeah. Magus Sisters was no problem at 1 because their health split up. That bomb punches really hard though there.
Yeah.
And I'll do the small bombs.
Yeah, karate spot punches real hard. I mean, you normally see vanilla karate spot kicks, and so you don't really see the punches. Not worried, but yeah, like a mom bomb being heavy punch heavy. I mean, yeah, that I could totally understand why that it was a spot to not a pleasant spot to be at.
Yeah. There were some other ones. I only faded a few spots. I did fade the tower and the Luca key and the pan apparently. This was I'd say this was a pretty Troy seed.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough when you've only got 2 out of the 17 key items that you need for your objectives. So there's just gonna be a lot of zonks. I think the the means to get through the Val is probably the first real kind of turning point of the seed, and a lot of niche things too. I think there's a couple runners that found a dancing dagger in Evelyn Cave. I think Tybalt mentioned he found vampires in the shop. So like it took some niche stuff to get through that Val.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you did and you got that Cecil online and found the Holy Swords, though, the rest of the game is just kind of, figuring out where the spots are. What was the what was kind of the sequence for you as far as kind of figuring out where everything was on the moon?
I didn't really have any set pattern or plan. I mean, I was trying to do what checks I think I could do and do them. I try to keep in a nice safe area when it comes to doing boss fights I think I can do or I can't do.
I think you were one of the runners that went after CPU instead of doing an early LST dive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Was there a thought to just fading it for a little bit? Because CPU being what it is, like kind of like Demus, it's a slow grind at a spot that not concerned about being punished, but just a slow spot just to begin with, because because CPU is just slow for everyone.
I decided, I was like, man, I'm just gonna go and do it while I'm down here. When I came back down there with Edge, I was like, and with plenty of darts, I was like, I'm gonna go get some levels, come back down, just knock them both out. I have darts, and that's pretty much what I was thinking.
Yeah. Do you have any other follow-up questions, Whitey Sky?
No, I'm trying to remember. Ninja, did you take out the Kinatsu for the paint tail?
No, I did not.
Nope.
Don't know where it was at. Must have been K value.
Yeah, it was K value. Pink tail into adamant armor there for and that's how that was how some of the ruder spots were handled.
Still a lot of HP of turtle.
Yeah, who wants to be punched at that spot? I'm sure that was also not a good value proposition. At least, if you thought of visiting that, I'm sure you would have considered fading that just as well.
Yeah.
I guess the other question is so dark. I think if I remember correctly. So the way to kind of winning this seed was like essentially doing minor deals to get darkness, to get on the moon, to do the LST, to get the Baron key, to get the other piece of a forge. I mean, with this seed and its variability, and like a lot of some of the part of the flags that you didn't start with a kit. I guess what were your feelings about just this seed or the flags that came with it?
I mean, no kits. I mean, it is what it is. Also got to say, that hook route was also pretty nasty too, if I remember right.
I think that was Squid, and I think it was a Mylon Z at
Mylon Z at hook 1.
Yeah, that
into Octoman.
Two punchy characters. Probably the Octoman probably the less threatening, but the because Mylon Z just punches at the King Queen Evelyn spot. That is that was devastating.
That's just 25,000 HP of Squid I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah, I think because you were struggling for the at the Baron Inn, which held the magma key, which So that's kind of ironic. If you want to do the hook instead of trying to bash your head in with the Baron Inn bosses, so that was tough.
That's why I went, and when I saw the hourglass for sale, I was like, well, I'm gonna do Evelyn Castle Trap Chest, get myself some levels, and maybe go back and try the bomb again.
I assume
Seemed to be the plan.
I mean, you stumbled onto the X scale, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that probably give you more incentive to complete ordeals, right?
Yes, it did.
Totally understandable.
Overall, it was fun, kind of trolly.
Fun, kind of trolly. Expect no less from a Scala seed, right?
Exactly.
Well, Ninja, thanks for putting on such a good show for us. Love seeing you run. I'm looking forward to seeing you and older runners race more this year.
Yep. I want to thank everybody for the restream. YC Sky, Deathlight for comms, Scala for rowing this magnificent seed, and Be in Discovery for pressing the buttons.
Indeed, and thank you again, Ninja.
Yep. Good night.
GG's again, Ninja.
And with that, that will conclude tonight's program for us. We've got more Free Enterprise into the late night. I think we're going to send you to Rex Banner, who's running some more Free Enterprise. But as mentioned before, tomorrow, don't forget to tune into the Baron's Hero's Journey at 3 Eastern. A Sea Hero seed will be rolled featuring everyone's favorite Spoony Bard.
Oh yeah, that's always definitely worth watching. And so while we're sending you to Rex Banner, please do not spoil the events of this race. Just let it sit for a little bit. And hope to see you all next seed. And have a good night.